All right, guys, thank you for joining us again. This is part 2 of our video series, the story of Christopher. I'm here with the Stowers family that are here again this beautiful, cold Sunday. And I'm gonna go ahead and flip my camera around here. And there's sometimes, yeah, let's see here, go here. All right, so for those who may be watching the first time, we have Shannon, Destiny, right? Yes. Mary, I remembered, Emilio, right? And I can't remember Alabama, just kidding, Georgia, Georgia. So Shannon, if you'll tell us in a nutshell, 30 seconds, kind of recap what we talked about last week.
Talk about who Christopher is, who Christopher was, is the good sides of him. He's a good kid, friend of everybody. He's a good person to be around. That was the basis of last week, was wanting to know who Christopher is. What is the beginning of his story? What do we want to share about Christopher?
And what happened to Christopher?
Christopher passed away from a fentanyl overdose. Christopher was not by any means a drug addict. I don't want to paint the wrong picture about him. This is something that is very possible to creep up. He was the average teenager, the average young man in Southside Oklahoma City today.
Very clean cut.
Very clean, very clean. He was assistant manager for a local restaurant here in Oklahoma City. I mean, it has no face. It can happen to anybody. I do want to get away from the idea that he was some kind of drug addict. He wasn't. He was just a young man doing what young men do, trying to, you know.
And see, a lot of people have a perspective. They have this idea that if you die, if you pass away with something like this, well, you must have been a meth head. You're the guy who had the scrawly hair and you're dirty. I mean, we've seen the typical drug addict. We see him on the side of the road. Christopher was not like that at all. No. And again, like what we kind of learn from that is that this doesn't discriminate. This doesn't discriminate. This doesn't just go after the homeless guy on the side of the street who doesn't have anything, who doesn't have a family, and is just trying to cope with life, and so they get into drugs, right? This affects everybody. So we have Christopher, who had a family that you're seeing here. Family, had support, had love. And what we want to talk about today is how this began, how this started. What were some small things? So you guys who are watching this video, this is to maybe give us some signs, give you some signs, the things we need to be looking at. We talked about last week. I remember, Georgia, you mentioned it also. He became real quiet, right? He went from being pretty outspoken to more introverted. That was one of the signs. Tell me again, Mary, tell me again, from your perspective, what was one of the changes that you saw in Christopher? He got more distant, started separating himself. So if you have someone in your family who's very outgoing, right? Kind of happy and chirping, all of a sudden they're starting to distance themselves. Shannon, what do we do? There's a dad out there who's watching this video and he has a daughter or a son who's just like Christopher. And now they're seeing their son or their daughter is in that phase. He's gotten quiet, she's gotten quiet, very reserved, doesn't want to talk. What do you tell that dad to do?
Tell you one thing, I made some mistakes. Make some noise. Walking the other way is not the answer. You know, they say he got distant. It got so distant that he ran away. Don't be the hard, but you know, say, oh, he'll figure it out. Just make some noise, reach out, tell everyone, you know, hey, it takes more than just parents now. It's truly a community, a village to raise these kids, and we got to raise them all together. can't tell you the perfect answer. I can tell you the perfect way not to handle it.
And what would that be?
Walking away, letting them figure it out on his own. Because these kids do not know what they're doing on their own.
And see, and that's an idea, especially when you come from a Latino, Native American heritage. We're the macho men, right? I'm gonna use the word, we're hard ass.
Yeah.
You know? Go figure it out. Go figure it out, mijo.
But it created some arguments, you know, because she felt I didn't do enough. I know my kids seen it, you know, Dad's being a hard ass. I was, and that's not the answer. The answer is to reach out, grab your kids tight, move together as a unit. I think it's a whole family deal. I mean, support each other. It's one thing we did lack a little bit is support. There's gonna be times we disagree as family and stuff like that, but when it comes to the life of our children, we gotta support each other.
Absolutely. Emilio, let me ask you, has your dad changed over the last year?
He has.
Has he changed for the better?
He has.
Isn't it sometimes amazing? And I know, Georgia, you're the oldest. You'll really know this. It takes something really catastrophic to make things better.
Yeah.
Mom, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
It takes something catastrophic to give us 20/20 vision.
You're supposed to see the good and bad.
But when we get to on the other side of the storm, we're a better person, a better man, a better dad, a better father. You just heard your son. You heard what your son said. You're a better person. You're a better person. Shannon, let's talk about the things that came into the house, either intentionally or not intentionally. They didn't come into the house with, as you thought at the time, with an evil intent. It could be a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
It could have been social media. What are some things that as parents, because we older than them, we are older than them a lot. What are some things that we as parents, and Mom, I want you to think about this too, that we need to just keep out of our house. Keep it out of the house.
And
Lies.
What's that?
Lies.
Lying?
You need to be honest. Everybody needs to be honest.
Okay.
You want your kid to be good, you need to show them you're good too.
Okay. Are there certain people that we should keep out of our homes?
It can be.
yeah, I mean, there can be certain people, friends, family, if they're not making best decisions, as hard as it is, you gotta keep that kind of energy away from your family, from your immediate family, from your kids. Mine was gonna go more towards what kind of information we feed our kids through games, through social media, through television shows or movies. I was very lenient in that. And, growing up, I seen kids that their mom, dads, they were very strict on this kind of deal. And I thought they were squares. I didn't get it. Oh, it's just a TV show. No, there's some truth behind that. I mean, you go see these kids now, see where they are compared to my life. And I'm not saying that they're any better, but they weren't fed the negative things that I was fed, which I felt was okay at the time. And in turn, I felt it was okay for my kids to see it and soak it up. Until now, I see how much harm that actually did do. You become desensitized to all this stuff, and you glorify doing drugs and I watched that El Chapo. Hey, I was rooting for the bad guy, this whole time that's the devil's work. He is planting these seeds into our heads, whether we want to accept that or not. I mean, that's my truth. I stand on that now. I believe it starts somewhere. We talked about this, me and you. This social media, we're glorifying all these negative things. Drugs has become normalized, glorified. Everybody wants to pop a perk. You know.
I saw something on, maybe, I don't know if the kids have saw this on social media, on TikTok, clonazepam, which is an antidepressant. Kids are taking it just because it makes you sleepy. And whoever passes out last, have you guys seen that? Whoever passes out or dozes off last wins. This is a drug that can stop your heart. It can stop your heart. It's a narcotic. And yeah, that's something that it's a game. It's a game. It's a game. Like you and I used to go outside and play kick the can, hide and seek. It's a game today. It's a game today. It's played. Who wants to talk? I want to ask a question to the young people here. On social media. Okay, raise your hand if you're on TikTok. Instagram. Facebook. All right. I'm gonna talk more about TikTok because I think Facebook is more for old people. Would y'all agree? More for old people? Okay. TikTok is more for kids. I don't understand TikTok. I don't care for it. I don't care. Would you guys say that on TikTok there's dangerous stuff that somebody can see, or dangerous bad influences on TikTok? Yes. I want you each to give me one example. I want to start with Mary. Give me one example of something that you would warn somebody that can be a dangerous or a bad influence on the platform called TikTok that you've seen.
Self-harm.
Self-harm. Wow. You see that on TikTok. Okay. That's
That's the word right there.
that's powerful. Emilio.
I would have to agree with that. I saw that a lot on TikTok.
Self-harm.
I've never seen it.
Well, I've never seen it because I'm not on TikTok. But man, okay, parents who are watching this video, watch what your kids are watching on TikTok. Would you guys agree? Do we need to watch what y'all are watching on TikTok? Now, I don't know. Georgia, is there a way for me to see what my kid is watching on TikTok?
Like probably their behavior or something, or the way they talk about certain things.
Can you give me an example? I need you to elaborate. Please elaborate. This is literally can be the difference between life and death. I want you to please elaborate on that.
Just say that you have a kid, right? And they say that they want to do something, and then they go with their friends, and then they want to do what they see on social media. You could see that coming from your kid. That's what they see on social media.
Okay, is there a way to get on the TikTok app and see what your kids have seen? Is there like a history?
Yeah, but there's like ways you can private that. So
It's like an incognito mode or something, or what?
yeah.
Okay, so Georgia, you're the oldest. So one day, let me ask you this. One day you're gonna get old like us, you're gonna have kids. And knowing that social media is getting worse, it is getting worse.
Yeah.
It's getting worse, okay? Would you let your kid be on TikTok? And if you did let your kid be on TikTok, what would you do? Because you're the insider. What would you do to monitor or to be able to know that your kid is safe? Loaded question, I know.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Yeah.
Emilio or Mary, you guys have any idea? I mean, I have an idea. My idea would be my kid ain't getting on TikTok. That would be my idea. But when my kids were young, thank God there was no TikTok. And my kids were never big into social media. My oldest son, he doesn't even have Facebook.
And I'm not saying that the social media is all bad.
No.
Yeah, it's a very useful tool, and that's where we're going, you know, in life.
Do you guys play video games? what video games you guys play?
Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite.
Okay.
Call of Duty.
Okay. Do you know that today, by the time a child turns 18, he has seen over 36,000 murders? Video games. Okay. Would you say, Mom, back to Mom, would you say that playing these types of video games can desensitize our kids to make something seem normal?
I think it could trick them, yeah, in some way.
Dad?
Oh yeah, 100%. Even if it seems silly, yes.
Would you guys, let me ask you guys a question. Kids, you guys. When you guys watch the news and you hear that someone was shot, someone was killed, does it surprise you today, or is it just something else that happened?
Sometimes it is, but sometimes I'm like, wow, it's just another shooting.
How about you guys?
It just happens so frequent that it's just something that's numb to me at this point.
See, when I was growing up and somebody in my community was shot and killed, we were up in arms. We became the police, the FBI, the CIA. We wanted to go find who did it. Our minds were blown. Today, it's like, what's the weather and who got killed? Can you guys see, now that we're talking how we need to protect our minds? We need to protect what goes in because it does desensitize us. Let's go back to Dad. You talked about some of the TV shows that you guys entertained. Can you name some of those TV shows?
Oh yeah. Breaking Bad. I mean, it's all about drugs. That is the base of the story. Is meth. And the distribution of it. I mean, behind it is a bunch of death, violence, in every aspect. El Chapo is one. Narcos. For me, when I was growing up, and this is why I was like, no big deal. Everybody knows it's a movie. Like Menace to Society. You know, it was like everybody knew about that. Friday.
Blood in, blood out?
Blood in, blood out. And hey, we were all about those locos, you know. Yeah, American Me. Although they were just stories, we glorified the wrong portion of it. And a lot of kids, a lot of gullible minds try to emulate that style. You know, they want to be that because hey, when Dad's sitting there rooting for that bad guy, you know,
It can't be that bad.
right?
Yeah, it can't be that bad.
That's what I mean by these movies and stuff. Although they're entertaining, great stories, even if they're true stories, hey, they're dangerous, and your kid is soaking that up. Your kid is watching you cheer that bad guy on. You know, if Joel Osteen comes on, I'm not cheering so loud. You know what I mean? I enjoy it just as much. Or you know, when we're at church, I'm not in the pews, you know, really jumping up and down, saying, "Oh man, he's got that word."
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm there quiet, barely saying anything, very shy. Although I'm soaking it up, I'm not celebrating it as much as I am this bad TV show or this, you know, Grand Theft Auto when we're going to rob whatever guy is, you know, down the street in his car, and you know, yeah, what we celebrate and what we soak up.
Because our brains are like sponges, and if you mess with a sponge, you know, if you can take a sponge, you can go to the store and buy a sponge, brand new sponge, dip that sponge in some gasoline, and you know what? You can wash that sponge. You're never going to get that gasoline smell. It soaked it in. Or take a sponge and soak it in Clorox. You're never going to get the stench, the smell of Clorox. Some people like the smell of Clorox out of that sponge. Y'all's brains are like sponges, and there's some stuff you're going to put in there, that no matter what happens, you're never going to get it out. There were some things that I allowed when I was your age and actually younger than you guys, I allowed to go into my brain through my eyes, and I still can't get it out. And I'm never, the day I get it out will be the day that this brain ceases to have activity and I die. That is when, that will take for me to finally rid myself of that. When I have a new body and when I pass into eternity, it is so important. What you have, guys, is fragile. It's fragile. Now, I want to connect the bridge. Let's make this bridge now. Let's connect the bridge. Christopher Story. Christopher Story. What influence did the video games, did the TV shows that glamorized the bad guy, glamorized drugs, how do you think that had an effect on his psyche?
Again, Dad was cheering on these bad guys. Dad was involved in playing the game. Dad wasn't involved in boosting them up at church. Did you hear God's word today? No, Dad was having. Look at El Chapo, man. That dude is cool. And friends, there's friends at school. They have their dads probably doing the same thing I am. Their dads probably grew up together, or And, yeah.
The first time that Chris experimented with some type of drug, do you think that all the TV, the shows that he watched, the games that he played, made it easier for him to try, to experiment?
For sure.
Kids, did you all hear what your dad just said? I'm gonna say that again because you guys need to hear this. And those who are watching this video, y'all need to watch this and listen to what Dad's gonna say again. I'm gonna ask the question, and Dad, again, this is crazy, but and I've never seen a video like this. I've never seen a family talk like you guys are talking right now. I'm 53 years old. I've never seen, this is the first time. It's groundbreaking what we're doing right now. Dad, Shannon, are y'all listening? The first time that Chris experimented with something that would eventually lead to what happened, did those TV shows have an influence on making it easier for him to experiment?
For sure, glorifies it.
So if Christopher had never watched those shows, if drug usage had been completely shunned, that's something, no. I mean, when I was growing up, did you guys ever watch the movie Predator? You already know what I'm talking about, do you? Y'all know what I'm talking about?
I know.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, yeah.
So when Predator came out in the, late 80s, early 90s, there's a lot of killing in that movie. My dad kind of freaked out. Come on, bro, Predator compared to what comes out today, Predator today is mild, okay? It's an alien, went around, killed a group of Marines, okay? But my dad was very hesitant in letting us watch that. Because you know why? He did not want my brother and my sister and I to become desensitized to killing. So, could Christopher have a better chance of still being here if that had been completely blocked?
Yes.
I'm not saying not a guarantee.
No, it's
No,
not.
not a guarantee. Absolutely not a guarantee.
No, it's not a guarantee. And I mean, it didn't even start with Chris. Like I said, I watched Menace to Society growing up. I was the guy who wanted to try the 40 ounce of Old English because I've seen that on,
Wow.
and that goes on generation to generation. This generation has got to do better at stopping this now.
So there you go. I want to talk about that. I want to ask everybody that question. All right? And this is coming from you guys who know this better. Mom, what can this generation, what can parents today do to help stop this?
Be a better person yourself.
What's that?
Be a better person yourself. You just gotta watch what you do.
Be an example.
Mhm.
Be an example. Okay? Be an example. It's true. Don't be telling your kids to do something and you're doing the opposite.
Right.
Don't tell your kids. That'd be kind of like a parent who's a drunk telling his kids not to drink. Okay, it's like they're not going to listen to you. If your dad's a drunk, you know. Okay, so I like that character. Your character matters. So be a better example. Let's go down to here to Georgia. Georgia, what does this generation have to do to that? If we could make Christopher Stowart the last victim of this, and we could make it happen. It's not going to happen again. What would we have to do to make it happen?
I would say stop normalizing murders.
Beautiful.
Stop normalizing drugs. Stop normalizing just like.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the dilemma with that. How do we stop normalizing it? Hollywood, they're not going to stop making movies that glorify it. TikTok, TikTok creators are not going to stop making videos that glorify self-harm. It's always going to be there. The drug dealers are not going to stop making drugs.
Right.
So how do we stop normalizing it if it's always going to be there?
I would say take it how. It all depends on you. Like how you take it is how you will live, and how you show other people how to take it. That's how they'll most likely live. Like my mom said, be a leader. Don't follow other people. That's mainly what I think.
Emilio, how do we stop this?
I don't know how to answer that. I'd have to think about that.
I want you to think about it, okay? Give it. If God came down and he said, Emilio, I'm giving you the power to stop this, but you got to tell me what you want me to do. What would you tell God? Think about it. You don't got to answer it. But if God said, I'm going to give you, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. And if your plan works, it'll stop. What would you tell God? How do we stop this? Mary, I know you got an answer. How do we stop this?
Be a good influencer and lead them towards the right way.
Being an influencer, and you guys know you're being influencers right now, right? You're being influencers right now. When this video goes up, you guys are being influencers. And see, that's what's beautiful about these conversations. This could be so much easier, just your dad and I sitting here talking. No, this is just your dad and I. This is how old are you? 15, 14, 12. Tell them their stories.
They're right in the mix of this. This is the heart of it. This is where it begins.
Tell them your stories. You guys are influencing. You're leading right now. And I'm very proud of you, and you're not my kids. And I'm very proud of you for being here. You guys could have told your dad, no, Dad, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Mom, this is hard for you.
It is hard.
It is hard for you. But you're here.
Mm-hmm.
You're here. Shannon, just pour your heart out for a second, man. Again, Shannon, for those who didn't watch last week's video, go back and watch it. Shannon and I, we re-met at a funeral a little over a month ago. 2 months ago now?
Yeah.
Lincoln. I respect to Lincoln Holman and his family. They watched the video as well. They're kind of keeping in touch with the story. And you told me at the funeral, this has got to stop. The truth is, we may at the best make a dent. I'm not going to stop it. But you know what? You can stop it in the life of Georgia, Emilio, and Mary. And you can stop it in the life of the kids who are watching this.
I hope somebody hears this. I'll never get to see my boy again. He wasn't doing anything to be a bad person either. You don't have to be. He was amongst what he called friends, and it wasn't just him that died. There was three young men that were involved in this. You know, one passed away with my son. The other, he ended up going to the hospital. three boys just hanging out. Watch what you're putting into your body. Watch what you're putting into your mind. Bad things happen, and it hurts more than just the person, you know, that is taking the drug. We're talking about a small amount of drugs. Fentanyl is a legal substance when, you know, it's medication. These guys were taking some medication. I'll never get to see my boy again because of this. He had so much life ahead of him. I was counting on my boy to be able to take care of me when I get older. You know, he wasn't raised to do drugs or anything like that. I thought everything that I was doing was right.
To the kid out there, the young man or the young girl who maybe they're going through some difficult time, but they have a mom and a dad, but they're taking that risk of putting stuff in their body that could hurt them, but they're really not thinking about it. How much can you just, I don't know, it's overwhelming. How much does it hurt as a parent to lose a child?
I die inside every day, just a little bit more. Still have nightmares. Your parents don't have the same nightmares. I hear my son in my sleep, but I'll never get to touch his face. I'll never get to see him on Christmas again. We just passed these holidays. His birthday is coming up. He'll be 22 this year. Wow. The hurt never goes away. I see the hurt in my kids. I see how it's changing my other kids and affecting them with their school. Now I have a new battle. Not just my own, on top of my own, you know?
Yeah.
It's changed the family all around.
As we wrap up today, let's look forward, because there's always hope. There's always hope that there's a brighter tomorrow. So, and I want the viewers to hear your heart. And I'm gonna let everybody just say a few words. We've said that Christopher's death will not be in vain, and that's why we're here. It will not be in vain. All things work together for good. Doesn't make any sense, that verse. Sometimes I scratch my head when I read that verse. All things work together for good. This doesn't seem that anything good can come out of this. But as you look forward, and I've seen you guys laughing. I've seen you guys smiling. You were up here, and it's good to see you guys. You're living life. You have to keep living. So as you move forward, how do you move forward? I guess that's the better. How do you keep moving forward in spite of the pain and still holding on to hope?
Just know you have a purpose. Say the first time I've been hurt in life, it's definitely the worst pain I've ever felt. There's a poem that is real famous, is Footprints in the Sand.
Oh yeah.
You know, God's carrying me right now. I don't know the reason behind all this. I have faith that He's carrying me. One day I'll look and I'll see that one set of footprints in the sand, and I'll know that Jesus was carrying me.
Yeah.
Keep pushing. You gotta keep pushing. God don't build weak things. God tests our faith. I think I'm being tested big time. I think my whole family is. And we have a choice to make. It's easy to give up. It's easy to follow the devil's plan. And I touched on this last week. I can go touch somebody one or two ways. I'm gonna go with the side of God and just keep pushing.
Mom, as a mom, how do you keep moving, and what keeps you moving forward?
He moved my kids. I feel numb. I'm not the same no more.
Yeah.
And because if Chris was still here, I know he would still want me to be strong. So that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. But you still got these guys right here. You still got these, and they need you.
Yeah.
And they need you. And you still have future grandkids that'll be on the way. And trust me, grandkids are so amazing. You guys still have a lot of life ahead of you. Mary, how do you keep pushing forward?
Just know that it's gonna be worth it at the end, and life is gonna get better. Even though it hurts, you just have to go through it first. It's like somebody flips the switch off, somebody you gotta flip it back on by yourself. And just know that sometimes you can't depend on people, and that you just have to depend on yourself.
She said something that I hope y'all heard. She said, it's all gonna be worth it. What do you mean? That's the faith of a child. I know you're not really, I mean, you're still a child, you're 13, but that's the faith of a child. You know, Jesus was teaching, and these parents showed up, and they brought their kids to Jesus, and the kids started like coming up to Jesus, and they were wanting Jesus to bless their kids, and the disciples were like, no, he's busy, no. And Jesus was like, no, let the kids come to me. Let them come to me. He said, because if you don't come to me like the faith of a child, you will never see the kingdom of God.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what she just said. It's going to be worth it one day. Yes, it will be. You don't understand that. It doesn't make sense, but one day it will. That's the faith of a child. Emilio, how do you keep going, and what do you tell people? How do you keep pushing through?
Definitely don't set it to the side, because at some point you are going to have to deal with it. Like, there's no resisting it. So I just say, just deal with it while it happens. It's going to be easier that way.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely at least talk to people. Don't have yourself just go alone.
Yeah.
It will definitely help if you have people with you.
And this has changed you a lot too, right? You're a little more outspoken now. Dad asks you more questions now. Get you to talk more.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Georgia, you're the oldest. I'm gonna let this end with you. How do you keep going forward? How do you were the closest to him in age too, right?
Yeah, the way I keep going forward is, obviously you're gonna have to go through it, like Emilio said, and you just gotta remember it's worth like going through. You learn off of it, you see new things, and it just changes you completely. The way I go through it though, I feel like you have to listen to how you feel about it. So however you feel about it, just open up to yourself, open up to other people if you can. Surround yourself around good people too, that will listen to you, like my parents,
Yeah.
or siblings,
Yeah.
friends.
Or go to a church and be part of a church.
Yeah, be honest with yourself too.
Absolutely. That's good. All right, guys. So I hope that you guys will share these videos. We may do a final follow-up next week. Don't know yet. There's still so much to talk about. If you know someone who is struggling with drug abuse, reach out. Reach out. If they're messing with drugs, it's because they need help. People who are healthy mentally don't touch drugs. People who are struggling are the ones who touch it. But sometimes they hide those struggles. And maybe Chris was good at hiding those struggles, but at least now we see the signs. We know the signs that we need to look for in our kids' lives and our families' lives. And we can make the difference. We can make the difference. Let's not allow the life of this young man to be in vain, or the life of Lincoln or the Holmans to be in vain. We can make a difference.